AITA. Girlfriend's family won't stop asking about my money and privacy. Before I met my girlfriend, I received a sum of money paid out annually that would allow me to live without having to work again. I explained this to my girlfriend by telling her that I went through a traumatic experience that I don't want to talk about, and that the money was a result of that experience. I also mentioned that I wasn't comfortable sharing the exact amount at the moment, but would be willing to discuss it as the relationship progressed. However, my girlfriend and her parents have been relentless in their questioning about my money and how I acquired it, despite me telling them several times that I don't want to discuss it further. Recently, while showing my phone to my girlfriend's father, my girlfriend took the liberty of scrolling through my phone. I kindly asked her to return it, explaining that my phone is like a personal journal to me, with notes about my thoughts and experiences, and photos that have sentimental value. The following day, my girlfriend's father began ranting about how I'm too secretive and not treating his daughter well because I won't share the specifics of my money or give her unrestricted access to my phone. I believe in personal boundaries and privacy, and Dave already communicated my discomfort with discussing my finances and my need for privacy with my girlfriend and her parents. I'm unsure how to navigate this situation. AITA and #X200B. Edit. We haven't lived together nor do we have any obligations with each other. Just dating, not at the engagement or marriage or anything like that. AITA for refusing to give my guest the same breakfast I have? So I 19F and my boyfriend 22 meters live together. We don't have much money and try to be as frugal as possible, but we each have specific things in which way decide to spend some extra money in. Mine is breakfast. I like having a good nutritious breakfast and it really does influence my mood, so I spend some on buying myself high-protein yogurt, granola, fruits, nuts and orange juice to have breakfast every day. My boyfriend doesn't care as much as me of breakfast and doesn't even like yogurt and orange juice that much, so I usually make him something else with whatever was cheap on the supermarket that week and he never has a problem. I have a friend 18F who studies in a city 1 hour away and recently came to visit for the weekend. She was our guest as we invited her. Everything was fine until Saturday morning. I woke up early and had breakfast. She woke up a little later and said what I was eating looked great. I said thanks. When my boyfriend woke up, I told them they could make them pancakes with dulce de leche, chocolate milk or coffee or tea, omelet, oatmeal, or homemade bread with butter or dulce de leche. Though that was an extremely vast amount of options, more than I normally have at home. I also had the morning free and didn't mind spending some time cooking, so I was willing to make half-elaborate breakfasts. She asked me if she could have what I was eating. I was caught off guard but tried to explain nicest way possible that my breakfast is something I spend a little extra on myself because I really enjoy it and I can't really afford to feed everyone the same. She frowned and said something under her breath I don't remember now, but agreed to have whatever my boyfriend wanted. Everything felt awkward for a couple hours, but eventually we put it behind and enjoyed the rest of the weekend. She left yesterday and today she sent me a paragraph saying not sharing something like breakfast is greedy and it made her question if she wants to be friends with someone like that. I wanted to apologize but my boyfriend said not to because she was acting entitled. AITA. Edit. I wasn't planning on eating in front of her. I just woke up early and thought she wouldn't wake up for at least an hour. I now know, however, I should have just not eaten that the same day. I understand and will apologize to her. However, I feel like people insulting me don't understand at all what being poor and having one thing to enjoy for yourself is. I try to share everything. I just have this one thing I really like and I spend a good portion of my income in. I didn't ask her for 1 penny for all the meals I fed her the weekend and I had to budget to afford them.
AITA for refusing to apologize to my girlfriend for not recognizing her. I am 22, recently suffered a TBI and I have developed prosopagnosia, face blindness. I am able to vaguely recognize my immediate family, but it's near impossible for me to recognize anyone else unless I remember other distinctive cues about their appearance, such as a unique hair color or accessory. This has been really hard on me, and I've been hospitalized for the past 2 weeks, for other medical reasons related to my TBI. I texted my girlfriend, F21, to explain my condition to her and linked her some articles on it. She insisted on visiting me since she hadn't seen me since I was hospitalized. When she came into my room, I wasn't sure whether she was my cousin. My cousin had planned on visiting too, a nurse, or my girlfriend. She didn't say anything to introduce herself, so I asked her, "Can you tell me who you are?" When she replied, I could hear that she was extremely mad and I recognized her voice as my girlfriend's. She said, "Are you ucking for real? You don't recognize me?" I told her that I physically cannot recognize her, and she started crying about how that means she wasn't important enough to recognize and a whole lot of other stuff. I was honestly hurt that she was upset with me over a medical condition that I recently acquired and am struggling with. This has changed the entire course of my life and caused me so much emotional pain already, not to mention the other trauma I sustained from my accident. If she had read my explanation I texted her or the articles I sent, she would understand that my ability to recognize her has nothing to do with my care for her. She got upset at me for not apologizing to her, but I refused and told her to leave me alone and go home. AITA?
AITA for not punishing my 7-year-old daughter for her play relationships? My husband and I have a 7-year-old daughter together, Layla. A few months ago, Layla got a boyfriend, Lucas. They are both 7, so it's obviously not a real relationship. They just hold hands sometimes and they drew each other hearts for Valentine's Day. This week, Layla was apparently holding hands with another boy, who also sent Layla a Valentine's Day love letter, and Lucas took offense to it. We found out because Lucas's parents called to tell us Lucas won't be coming over to us this Saturday like it was originally planned, because he is mad at Layla. My husband wants us to punish Layla and wants me to have a talk with her about faithfulness. At first I thought he was joking, but no, he was serious. Says that Layla cheated on Lucas and I, as her mother, should do something about it. I told my husband that Layla is 7, not a cheater, and I won't treat her as such. He then accused me of raising a cheater and encouraging the bad behavior. AITA for not wanting to punish Layla. Edit, typo.
AITA because we didn't invite our brother on vacation? Our parents were always very active people and encouraged us to be very active as well. Myself and most of our siblings thrived in this lifestyle. Bouton of our brothers hated it. I'll call him Tom. Tom hated being outside, exercising, heat, wildlife, etc. Our parents always encouraged him to at least try something before deciding, but they let him skip things he insisted he didn't want to do. My brother I'm closest in age with, and I wanted Toto a snorkeling trip together. While planning, we decided to invite our youngest siblings as well. I4 parents would pitch in a bit and were okay with us watching them. We didn't invite Tom, 22, though, because we knew he'd hate this trip and we figure he'd be busy with post-graduation plans and everything. In addition to snorkeling, we will also be hiking, rock climbing and free diving on this trip. All of these activities are things Tom expressly hates or even cannot safely do. Tom heard about the trip from our parents and ISHURT that we didn't invite him. We explained that the trip would involve a lot of getting up early, which he hates, a lot of physical activity, hates, and very little to no lounging and comfort, his main priorities when vacationing. He said he could still come and do his own thing and meet us for dinner. We aren't planning on hitting any restaurants. I said if he wants he can book his own room on the same dates, but we know he gets really upset when he is woken up early, so we won't share with him because we don't want to deal with that. He feels like we're bullying him and being dicks for no reason, but we aren't trying to do that. We just want to have a good time. He says it's ridiculous that our brother in middle school and sister with special needs are considered better company than him, which isn't what we said at all, but that's how he's interpreting everything. We holes to not invite him? AITA for wanting to know my wife's family but not at the cost of remarrying. I 28M dated my wife 26F for 3 years before we got married a year and a half ago. I'm a white guy and she is an Indian who moved to the States for college and settled with a job here. She made it clear to me sometime into our relationship that her family was not going to approve of her marrying outside of her religion, caste and race, but we both decided to go for it regardless. We didn't money at the time either, so we eloped and had a sweet ceremony with only our closest friends in attendance. Her parents didn't even know she was dating me at the time. Over the course of our relationship she has gotten to know my family and friends incredibly well. My sisters treat her like a sister and my parents love her, plus she is basically as close to my friends as me. However, despite the fact that I know she has very close ties to family and friends back in India, I have never met them and I truly don't think I come close to understanding her culture or experiencing her traditions, which I think is important because we've decided to try for kids this year and want to raise them as proud of both identities. 6 months ago she finally told her parents about me, not about us being married but about her dating a white guy. Recently they have finally started talking around a bit and I decided it was probably high time I visit her home, her family and her country. I brought this up with her and she was essentially quite hesitant about the idea. However, last night she sat me down and told me she's willing to take the trip, but it would require 2 things from me. For us to act as we are not currently married and to be willing to have a big wedding celebration likely back in India fairly soon, because she said things will move fast once I meet her parents. To clarify, she said we would not bear the financial burden even though we're both quite well-to-do now. I told her I don't want to lie to them about our lives and that it is probably better to simply tell them the truth and come clean. I also don't want to have another wedding ceremony when we already had known over a year ago that to me was absolutely perfect and I would be very uncomfortable with the same. She broke down at this and told me she can't keep this secret from her parents any longer and that I was being an awe for not understanding the fact that she doesn't have a choice in this and it is the only way for our relationship to work. I don't think I was unfair in not wanting to deceive my in-laws, but maybe I misunderstood something. So AITA,